Some of the games are really made to make it addictive, especially when it comes like this, as you say, the dopamine addiction, and that you are constantly getting this reward and you're basically craving for those rewards to come back. But the good thing about the games, the serious games and educational games, that's beyond the rewards. That's why when we talk about the two things, one is the gamification, so you do something, you get a reward.
Yeah.
The game-based learning is a little bit of a different approach. You still have the reward-based system that you have in the games, but you have many more things. You know, you have the challenge thing, for example. You have the story that you kind of like connect to the story of the game, and many more things that are actually educational and also can grab you rather than just the whole thing about getting the next reward. And that's the good thing about games, that it can have many more things than just simply a reward.
You kind of touched upon it, but I would be curious to know a bit more in this kind of reform that we need in the educational system. What would be the role of the teacher and maybe also the parent in it? Now that we do have these huge storages and databases and access to information, obviously there will be probably more like guides who would show you, where to research or how do you approach media in a responsible way. I don't know, I'm kind of guessing myself. I remember, because I studied here in Vienna and I studied media and mass media studies, pretty much. One of the subjects that we had was media competence, and the more I learned about what media competence means, the more I thought, why isn't that taught in school?
Yeah.
It is pretty much teaching you how to use the media and the platforms and the channels that we have out there for the purposes of your own growth, and not to be overloaded, as we say. But we don't teach our kids that. They need to figure it out on themselves, and obviously we're miserably failing at that right now. If you look at certain psychological markers of young people. So is that the role of the teacher? Is that the role of the parent now? I don't know. How do you see it?
That's a brilliant question, I have to say. And I think, back in the days, especially when school basically become a basic human right, and we got universal education. One of the main purposes, of course, of a teacher was to transmit information.
Yes.
So to pass on the knowledge to the next generations.
Yes.
Because, you still had the access to the books if you go to the library, but they can explain to you and everything.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Okay.
So now we have access to this education. We have also, you can go and do an online course, and the person you would never meet, the teacher or the educator, and you just sit online and they would talk to you, and you can still learn things. But I think the role of the educator is now to make sure that they're also facilitators, and to understand better what the needs of each kid are, which is also very, and also to prepare the educational program in the best possible way so that it can be adaptive enough to each single kid's needs. And that's a very challenging work, challenging role for them, and I really admire the work of an educator, because it's a very difficult thing.
It is indeed.
And especially, that's why when we started the conversation, we were speaking about how underprivileged some can be, because most of the countries in the world, they have universal education, you mentioned, but some of them, the quality is just, in some places the quality is just not good enough, and only the rich one get, or the elites get the best education. And remember, when you were in school, how many kids you were in one class?
25, 26.
25. That was the maximum. Yeah.
Yes.
Still nowadays, I've been to classrooms with like 50 kids, and that's not the worst.
Okay.
And think about how an teacher can attend to all the 50 kids.
That's
It's
challenging.
very challenging, yeah.
Especially because probably they would be learning at different pace.
Yeah.
They would have like different interests. It was already difficult enough with 25, 26
Yeah.
kids, to be honest. Yeah, if you think about it. I mean, for me it was very natural, but now that I see how heterogeneous was, the situation in class,
Yeah.
I don't know, how do you speak to all of them?
And if you're just as passionate about innovation as we are, hit subscribe for the Recursive Podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere.